Hello friends, welcome to Notebook. We'll discuss about the theory of perfect competition in economics. Since economics is the science of dealing with price and quantity, every topic we deal with, whether now or later, would involve price and quantity on the demand side and cost and quantity on the supply side. So always remember, economics is about finding the best purchase price for a customer and the cost at which a good can be sold by a supplier under different market situations. It's not unusual for a market situation to differ. One market may have just one seller or a few sellers. Some others may have plenty of sellers and buyers. Now, where do you see a market where there are plenty of buyers and sellers? Yes, we do see them on eBay and Amazon. Plenty of buyers and sellers come together on a platform to engage in buying and selling of goods simultaneously. Let's see here. Vijay wants to buy a good camera. He sits at home and looks at the different prices of camera and their configurations. He chooses a branded company and pays a higher price for a good camera and places his order on eBay. Vijay places his order based on his individual demand curve. Seema wants to buy the same camera with the same configuration, but prices are high for her, so she settles for a lesser known company. Seema has a different demand curve than Vijay, and so she places an order according to her own demand curve. Her demand curve would naturally be a bit flatter than Vijay's. Can you suggest why? Well, of course, she wants the same good or quantity Q1, say, but for a lower price than P1 that Vijay is willing to pay for. Such buying and selling is rampant, my friends. eBay is an open e-commerce platform like many others. There's perfect competition among plenty of buyers and plenty of sellers, and all buyers and sellers act according to their own preferences. However, if sellers try to negotiate more, they lose customers, and if buyers try to negotiate more, they lose the product. So transactions happen only at a given fixed price. So prices are essentially fixed for both buyers and sellers. You are unable to negotiate price in a perfectly competitive model. And now, let's see why. Perfect competition refers to a situation in the market when firms compete with each other for selling and customers compete for buying. There's no gap in information, and hence, competition is perfect. Here all the fruit vendors face the same competition. Let's look at another most important assumption we make in this model. In perfect competition, we assume that there are lots of buyers and sellers in the market. If one buyer disappears, another appears. Sellers also have the same status. There is easy and free entrance and exit in the market for both. In economics, we refer to it as no barriers to entry. So people act according to their individual demand curves, and their aggregate demand is captured by the market demand curve. The market demand curve reflects all buyers in the market. The idea is that a shift in demand of one buyer in the market does not impact the market demand curve. That is, the change in demand of one customer has negligible or no effect on the total market demand. This is only possible because there are plenty of customers as one fills numbers for another. Now, let's look at sellers. Let's look at the supply of one individual seller and the total aggregate supply in the market, or the market supply. Here too, it is assumed that with shift in supply of one individual supply, there is no quantifiable impact on the market supply. So both market supply and market demand do not react to changes of demands of individual buyers or sellers. Both market demand and market supply determines the market price. Let's draw the market demand curve and market supply curve. All buyers and sellers are included in this market. The purple line indicates the price at which trading happens, and this price is automatically determined by the perfect functioning of the market. Very important conclusion in perfect competition is that suppliers and buyers see price as fixed, and so they are price takers. Can you remind me of a few more assumptions we just discussed? Well, you're right. There are plenty of buyers and sellers in the market. Free and easy entrance and exit in the market. Finally, information is perfect. You have a lovely pizza store in France. Everyone who visits the store wants to buy pizza, and the pizzeria has a very dear owner who wants to sell to all his customers at an affordable price. Customers are very happy to eat Franz's pizza because they are cheap. But Franz checks his profits at the end of the day, and he sees that the price at which he is selling his pizzas is not covering his total costs. Well, how does that happen, my friends? Oh no, Franz found out that he was paying his two workers rent and electricity and arranging for pizza raw materials, and that cost was higher than the total price of the pizza. Gosh, do you think Franz is an intelligent businessman? My friends, revenue from business always needs to be matched up with the cost. If cost does not match up with the price or total revenue earned, the business becomes unsustainable. Even worse, if price is too high in perfect competition, Franz would lose all his customers simply because there are plenty of pizza sellers in the vicinity who would sell the same pizza for a lower price. Franz would therefore have to come up with a business model that sustains his business. Thus, he first calculates his total revenue. Franz plots quantity sold on the x-axis and multiplies the price at which the pizzas are sold to calculate total income. This is plotted on the y-axis. The graph is a straight line curve and reflects the total revenue which is given by price times quantity. If Franz had sold 5 pizzas for 10 euros, then his revenue would be 50 euros. I'm sure you know what euros are. It's the currency they use in France, where Franz sells his pizzas. Once we know the TR, he would also need to know how his business is faring on a daily basis. For that, Franz calculates the average revenue, or his daily earnings, which is nothing but total revenue per unit quantity of pizza sold. So, let's look at it numerically. AR is equal to TR over Q. Thus, TR, which is equal to price times quantity, can be substituted in the formula, and AR would then be just equal to the price of a quantity. Wow! Here we see that Franz's average revenue is nothing but the price of pizza. This was an outstanding finding in a perfectly competitive model, that AR is equal to price. Even better, we will see that in a perfectly competitive model, marginal revenue is also equal to price, making AR is equal to MR is equal to P. This is very easy to understand. Let's look at this table. Here, AR is equal to TR over Q. As an example, when TR is equal to 50, AR is equal to 50 over number of units sold, which is 50 over 5, and that equals to 10. So price is equal to AR, which is equal to 10. Price is fixed in a perfectly competitive model. Thus, the AR curve would be a perfectly flat curve at a given price for a seller in a perfectly competitive model. We'll see that in a bit. What then about marginal revenue? MR is defined as the change in total revenue divided by change in quantity sold. We have seen definitions of MR before. So here too, let's calculate MR with 3 and 2 units sold and corresponding values in the TR column. Thus, MR is equal to TR3 minus TR2 over 3 minus 2, which is equal to 30 minus 20 over 1, equal to 10. Putting all together, MR is equal to AR, which is equal to P. So value of 1 extra unit sold is precisely equal to the price because prices are fixed, and thus MR is also equal to P. Friends, you need to study these two graphs very carefully. First, market demand and market supply determines the price of a good in a market, and then that price sets the TR for a seller. However, as you can see here, both the AR and the MR is equal to the price and are flat horizontal curves parallel to the x-axis for an individual seller. Let me repeat, the market price determines the marginal revenue for an individual seller. This is a very important conclusion in the perfect competition model. We assume that Franz must have found his P and total revenue in the business model. Ideally, he would want to have a price higher than cost. But we shall see what really happens to Franz in the next video. Does the perfectly competitive model allow huge profits for Franz? We'll see in the second video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.